What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back for another episode of the Wright Quallity. My boy, Miguel.
What's good? Wow, not Emilio.
Out Emilio
for another episode.
Yeah, I'll warm back up to Emilio. We'll get there. I gotta keep it different for you.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. But so much has happened in that minute. I mean, we just gotta jump right into it. There's literally so much to get into in terms of this offseason for the NBA.
Right. I mean, first of all, Denver Nuggets, congratulations.
You're right. Let's start there. The Jokic slander must stop, apparently. The Jokic slander must stop.
He got his MVP this year. For everyone that cared, that was a masterclass. I mean, granted, 1v8, it shouldn't have ever been this way.
I mean, this is very true. However, they still beat they beat all of the favorites for the most part, or two of the favorites out west. I honestly don't know. Well, it would have really been interesting to see Boston against them. That obviously would have been the better matchup. But I don't know if the way they looked, the way they were gelling, I don't know if there was a team that honestly was. I don't know if there was a team that was going to be able to beat them 4 times, to be honest.
No. Like, no, they were gelling so well. Yeah. Effortless basketball. Looked like the Spurs. But granted, I mean, now, the NBA is definitely retooling to see what they look like now. So
literally, it feels like everybody is either retooling or solid teams are just doubling down. Like there's a lot of good happening, relatively speaking, in the sense of the competitive tier of the NBA.
Right.
Yeah. So let's just so Phoenix is gonna piss me off. And
it's crazy.
It's actually getting pretty ridiculous because the KD move at the deadline was already nuclear.
We forget like how soon we forget that. I was like, oh yeah, they had a super team. Now they got KD. Okay, they got popped in the second round. Cool. Now they had Brad Beal. And I feel like that has even become an afterthought because I mean, like, Brad Beal, awesome. That's great. That's another piece. But then we were like, what does their bench look like? Because they just got rid of CP3. Okay, so they re-sign Okogie, and then they pick up Yuta first. Then they pick up a shooter, of course. Then they pick up Bates Diop, a nice stretch force, a nice big body. And then, yes, they pick up Bol. And I'm like, if they give him minutes, I wanna cuss. It's upsetting because he's basically lived in Phoenix of the East. Orlando is essentially that. I don't know how to explain it, but
are you talking strictly like the cities and not the teams?
A couple of years ago, you could definitely say the teams because they were both like young garbage teams. Phoenix came up out of a Chris Paul situation. We know how that works.
That's a reach. That's a reach.
But in terms of cities, very similar. I mean, just probably shouldn't be there. Very commercial. I have family out in suburbs of Phoenix, but I love them. But the cities, the infrastructure, I don't know. It's just a parallel to me.
Fair.
I digress. They got Bol. And that's upsetting. If he can learn from KD, even like an iota.
Yeah. So okay.
That was our pickup. That was our just like, oh yeah, here's a minimum.
No, literally.
Oh, Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's going there. I was like, oh yeah, Eric Gordon would be a great pickup.
So how do you feel about Beal being there, especially now that they're saying he's going to be the point guard?
He's the OG Damian Lillard in terms of like, oh my God, how long has it been? He's finally gone somewhere to win. It feels like forever. He could be their PG. He's facilitated out in Washington when John Wall was hurt for like 3 seasons. And like he's done it. Like he's definitely capable. It's just that, you could have done that with D Book too. You can do that with D Book. But it's like, why don't you? Because like you need someone to check the other PG. Like when they face teams like Sacramento, that's going to be I mean, even though they have the tools to do it, it's just like, how do you guard De'Aaron Fox? I mean, Okogie's there 100%. Like you have guard stoppers theoretically, but like, De'Aaron is going to jam up that ball a little bit better than Brad Beal might on the other end. It's hard to say, but they got a solid bench. They've gotten more than I thought that they would with that Bradley Beal pickup, which kudos to them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't really know if I was surprised. I definitely wasn't mad. I was just more so like, this is apparently what we're doing now in the NBA of today. But honestly, truly, the more I think about it and the more I kind of break down the trade, I don't even remember who Phoenix gave up, to be honest. I don't know who really came with Brad for that reason either. That's all that really matters.
Chris Paul.
Chris did go in that trade because he was there before he got traded. Okay. So Chris Paul.
I guess that contract kind of matches because he had a fat contract still.
Sure. So makes sense. But Brad being over there, honestly, I think that everybody knows that Bradley Beal is an elite scorer.
Of course.
Now, I don't think anybody would put him over Kevin Durant or Devin Booker in terms of scoring. No. So I think Brad comes into a situation where, yeah, your best bet probably is to play point. But also with them playing point for those two specifically, I just don't see how his game doesn't open up. Like, I'm just thinking of how easy it'll be for him to be elite. And that's not a knock. I'm just saying if he accepts that role, you're not going to get as many shots. Like, your point average is going to go down theoretically in some ways. But he'll probably be more efficient. And if he can raise his number of assists and become that type of threat as well, I don't see any L's for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So if Beal buys into that role with the bench that they've, managed to grab, because we also haven't mentioned that like Aiden is still here as well. So so literally if they buy into their roles and their stars show up, and I'm literally just talking about Booker and KD at this point, because everybody else after them two is now supporting role.
Yeah.
So, but as long as them two show up, and as long as the supporting cast does their role, once it gels, if it gels by this season, which I guess in theory it has to, I don't know. I don't know how you're gonna really stop it if it does get figured out.
I feel like it's a crapshoot. I've seen too many teams that are like, oh my God, look at this offensive threat.
I agree.
Who's going to play the best defense? That's really it at this point. Like, out of which one of these teams? Like, I mean, Denver, even though they had one of the most fantastic offenses to watch, like, they picked it up in the second half of the season. They were a top 5 defensive team. So it's like cool. And Brad could play defense, probably maybe better at this stage of his career than Chris Paul, can defend more positions.
Yep.
They still have Okogie, who's a high-level defender. Do they lose Torrey Craig?
They did.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like there's pieces that they're going to hurt on, but, it's that Golden State gamble when they lose out on Harrison Barnes and they pick up KD. It's like they'll pick up the slack at some point, right? So, and speaking of teams that lose key defensive guys and pick up maybe a different type of defensive guy, if you want to say it. Not a hustle player of the year award.
Right.
Not a defensive player of the year award. Should have been Drew. But Boston, Marcus Smart going for Porzingis, and then Memphis loses Tyus Jones and company.
So let's start with Boston, because are you surprised? Like, were you surprised more so by the move to go after Porzingis? Because I don't know if Smart was originally involved in that to begin with.
I
But
don't know why you get rid of him. He's your heart. That's been their heart. And like, even though if he makes, a couple bad decisions here and there, which, can be more magnified than most. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough loss for Porzingis. And then you let go of Grant Williams too for nothing. So Boston is, relying on those other bench guys that stepped up, Derek White,
so
Malcolm Brogdon. Maybe that backcourt of or front court of Al Horford and Porzingis have a nice little dynamic of short and stocky and tall and thin that they can eke it out, grab enough boards, get enough blocks. But I don't know. Marcus Smart's a tough loss. Same with Grant Williams. He's one of your best perimeter defenders, albeit that series happens against Jimmy. It's one series.
yeah, the Porzingis move is interesting because would you say that Boston got better?
I feel like it's a lateral move. Like I feel like it's.
I agree.
I feel like they lose too much to get KP. Like Grant and Marcus for him, and better pick in the draft. I don't know if that tips the scale enough. Like, yeah, he matches up with the honest enough if that's what you're looking at. But I don't know if that was ever your weakness. It was yourself.
Right.
I mean, inconsistency. You're gonna sign Jaylen Brown to $307 million. That's where I'd cut. That's where I'd cut ties, and then I'd still make that money up and sign KP to something. $307 million for someone that got exposed that didn't have a left hand at this point in his career. So
that's tough. That's tough.
I mean, come on. I don't personally. I don't make that signing. And then I keep Smart, and then I keep Grant, and then I let that big bag walk. And then Tatum could pick up that scoring load easy. And then you have a balanced enough team. You don't have to worry about who's getting the ball at what point. And, it just makes more sense to me.
So you're saying the Celtics should have been willing to lose Jaylen Brown over Marcus Smart?
In
the scenario.
In a nutshell. Yeah.
Based on what they did, I'd agree. Because if I'm gonna have to pay that much for JB, I could probably let him walk and sign still someone of I don't want to maybe JB's caliber. You know what I'm saying? Like if not higher to a cheaper contract if I really wanted to bring in another Robin, but also that is asking a lot of Tatum though. So I do understand for Boston while holding on to Jaylen Brown does make sense because I don't necessarily know if Tatum is like, as much as I'm a fan of Tatum and I want Tatum to make this ascension, I don't know if Tatum's at the space where like, yeah, you can rely on me for, I mean, granted, he did just average 30 a year, but I feel like if you lose Jaylen Brown, is 30 still enough for that team? Because then you're asking, Porzingis to pour in more. Now, maybe you give Brogdon a bigger role and maybe he can be more consistent and give you more. So maybe it works out, right? I feel like that's a gamble. I just feel like that would have been a bigger gamble. But I say all of that to also say I don't dislike Porzingis in Boston. I don't dislike the move necessarily. I just don't know what it looks like because now you have Horford, Porzingis, and you still have Robert Williams, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that rotation will look interesting. And I just think they'll run into lineup issues, which is where Smart comes into play. They were able to get away with a lot of lineups because of him. So without him, a lot of those lineups, especially late in games, I feel like it's going to get really interesting, especially when they're playing teams with 2 to 3 like serious offensive threats.
Yep. So that was yeesh. Interesting move. And Marcus Smart is going to Memphis, which is a amazing, like Dylan Brooks
Amazing,
replacement.
good for him.
Like that was a sneaky good move outside of paying Desmond Bane $207 million to not be in these streets. I understand that contract now. They're just like, you can play 82 games a year. We will take that.
So, what I'll say about Bane's extension, given today's NBA and given the money in today's NBA, based off of Bane's last 2 years,
I don't think it's a terrible contract.
it's not terrible. For today's NBA money.
You're looking for 3-and-D wings that, are serviceable, and he's that.
I mean, you got to think about it, right? Jaren Jackson Jr. already got paid, right?
Yep.
Ja already got paid.
They locked down their young core. That's it.
Bane's the next. He's the next biggest contract anyway, to be completely honest.
So get that out the way. And before the contracts get fatter, because we're seeing some other contracts out there where it's just like, whoa.
Hey, they could have done worse. I trust Bane for the next 5, barring anything serious. I trust him to develop. So,
yeah, I think that's perfect for them. I think they have, you lose your backup PG and Tyus, but you'll find a guard like that in the league, someone that's
So they picked up D Rose. They also got Josh Christopher, I think, in Houston. So guard wise, they did. Yeah, Memphis has D Rose.
Well, yeah, the Josh Christopher.
I really want to double check that. Something happened because all them guards got moved around.
Yeah, Houston. I was wondering because in Houston, I was like, we could talk about that after.
Yeah. So, but
a second, because what?
Okay,
they have to get rid of a guard. I believe that Josh Christopher's there because what? Houston picked up Patty VanVleet on top of Brooks.
Actually, I think Patty's in Atlanta. I think I saw that earlier. I think Patty Mills is in Atlanta.
Did he get? Okay, so
I think got rerouted. But
I was about to say they got a dearth.
Okay, but so say Memphis. We'll double check that. But say Memphis does have Josh Christopher, but then they also have Derrick Rose. I think I saw something where they wanted Rose to have like a role, like he's going to get playing time. What that looks like, I'm not 100% sure. And it's also really rocky because Ja's out for the first 25. So
he's gonna have a role for sure.
I mean, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That boy's got a job for at least 25 games.
Yeah, Derrick Rose probably going to be your starting point guard, which that's not a slight, nothing like that. But Memphis is just in a weird spot. It's really hard to figure like that first 20. I just feel like that first 25 games is crucial because you can't put yourself in too much of a deficit, especially in the West.
You're a good young team. These are the years that you're supposed to be building good, positive years. It's like they're almost feeling like they're Atlanta, where it's like their make or break years, where it's just like this is the 5 years that Desmond Bane 5 years is really the tell. Like, what is the floor? What's the ceiling? Like, are they contenders? Are they, there's a lot of good young teams in the West. I mean, OKC is out there. Sacramento's out there. You still have Phoenix. Phoenix young, Devin Booker, I guess. But, like that's tough. I mean, Denver still, that's a young core.
Like, Memphis has to turn the corner now. Like in the next, because of the suspension, I'll give them another season. So the next 2 years, because Ja and Jaren Jackson are at least under contract. I don't know their contracts, but next 2 years, right? So in the next 2 years, they got to make that turn to solidify themselves, like in the top 5 or 6 of the conference, like. Undoubtedly, like they got to be in that top 6 conversation.
Yep, no question.
If they are not, they're more than likely gonna get passed by an OKC. We don't know what Wemby looks like yet, but the Spurs don't necessarily have a terrible roster. We just don't.
We forget Utah had a great season up until the last couple games.
So if these other teams start to figure it out, or if they find themselves a direction.
It's not good
On the clock. Memphis is on the clock.
Speaking of a team that's on the clock, Dallas re-signed Kyrie, and there's rumblings for a second where we thought that we were going to see Kyrie in Phoenix, and I was like, to hell, to like go seek help. If you go find that man KD again, I would be sick to my stomach if that was the NBA we lived in today. God bless Allah be that man's in Dallas for his sake and for all of the NBAs.
Do you like it? Do you like him back in Dallas?
I mean, there's still a question with Christian Wood. He's still unsigned because he's kind of like he's not saying that he's like the next one to be blackballed out the NBA or like, that he would say he would be because he's talented. Just like, a big that can score a lot that doesn't play the best defense isn't really sought out these days. Like, there's only so many of those, and you're trying to find a superstar version of that, not, him. So, not to say he's not a good player, but I don't know. So what, did they re-sign Dwight Powell?
I believe they did. I believe they did.
What else?
They signed Steph Curry, and then they got.
Was he always there, or did Seth Curry come from somewhere else?
So Seth Curry came from Brooklyn, I think.
Yeah, he was stuck out there. So yeah, okay, they got someone that's familiar with the system back. Okay,
right. They get Grant Williams, which I think was a great piece for them to go.
It's a fantastic signing. It's not a center yet. They need like a true center, but that fills a gap. Fills a void.
So they also signed Rashawn Holmes, who used to play in Sacramento.
Good. That's a serviceable five. That's what I think that they want in Christian Wood, where someone's going to play a little bit more defense. Like he's going to block shots.
So if they were to re-sign Wood, though, now when you need a scoring punch off the bench, you can figure out if they can play together, or you just know that you're giving up defense there, but maybe you're playing, you're playing Christian Wood with Grant. You know what I'm saying? So
honestly, yeah. When Dwight Powell's on the bench, when you need Luka to have a breather, so you could put Kyrie and Christian Wood out there just ISO for 12 minutes.
Well, not 12 minutes. My God, that's terrible.
Total in the whole game.
That is, as great as Kyrie will probably make it look, that's terrible basketball to watch.
1/4 of the game, I think they'll last. I think they'll be okay. But yeah, Dallas, okay. So still need shoring it. They need a 5, man. They need about like in that West, you need somebody that's gonna be big. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know where this. I mean, they should have made the play-in last year. So it's not that they are not in the top 10 teams.
They purposely folded.
Right. I don't know if they're a top 8 team.
This point, no, I'm not saying it. Luka's phenomenal. Kyrie's phenomenal.
I think the thing with Dallas is, I think we have what is Dallas's identity gonna be? You can score. Yes, you probably have one of the top 5 offensive shows in the league, if not top 3, damn near, with Kyrie and Luka. So you have that, but what is gonna win y'all games besides that? Like when y'all are going up against the Phoenixes, when y'all are going up against these other teams, Boston or LA, when you're going up against these teams, what's gonna be the separator, or are you going to be able to match their energy and their skill in other capacities? So I think we have yet to see the true ceiling of this team, and I think they have made some strong strides in a positive direction. We'll see what happens as the season goes on and if they make any moves then. But yeah, they're in an interesting spot. But I mean, I'm not mad at the pairing of Kyrie and Luka. I just think they need the right team around them.
Yeah. And I don't know if they have that around them. Well, from one Texas team to another.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dylan Brooks a second ago, Houston.
Interesting.
I'll let you start because
I don't know what to make of what they're doing, but I will say this.
No clue.
All non-basketball related things aside, with Ime there, I am very interested to see what he makes of it. We've seen
10 guards.
Hey, all I'm saying is I just know he's a great coach.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly his plan is for this, but I will see what he does, and I'm intrigued because it's an odd pairing of, like, it's a backcourt heavy odd pairing of generations and skill talents even.
Yeah.
I mean, you have, and in a weird way, like, it's a great group of people for pickup. But like, no, in all seriousness, like, you have an assistant point guard who loves like finding people, and you have two young scorers, buckets on the wing, in Jalen.
Who likes to find people?
Kevin Porter. Fred VanVleet. Come on, man. We're not finna do this.
No. Sorry. No, the only reason I will not say names, my roommate, it just believes that he is a notorious chucker and that he is an assist hogger, that he will hold the ball and it will be in his hands so much that he's forced to get unnecessary assists. I will not name names. If you know me, you know me. But
I'll give you.
I don't know. Sorry, that's the only reason I laugh.
I'll give you shot chucker. I don't know about sis hogger. That's tough. That might be unfair. However, what I'm saying is, I feel like they have a facilitator, right? Because Jalen Green nor Kevin Porter Jr. is a facilitator, for real.
KPJ at times
can be, but naturally he's a scorer. I think he's at his best when he's attacking. So you get that. You bring Dylan Brooks in, and I wonder what his kind of redemption tour is going to look like, because I feel like
his redemption tour is done. His contract is signed. It was 94 million possibly with bonuses.
That's a lot of money
for Dylan Brooks, who just got renounced from a team.
That's a lot of money.
They said that you couldn't be here. They said we don't want you here by any means, and Houston was like, we'll take that. We don't know what he did. We would like to see.
I can't say I'm completely upset at what the culture might potentially be. I think they're gonna have some dog to them. You know,
I feel like that's something they're paying for, the chip. They're paying for the, hey, he's going to be mean and he's going to talk. So we need a heart defensively.
He's a prime pest. He's a prime pest. In today's NBA, he's in his prime of being a pest, being one of those type of players.
Yeah.
And again, in today's NBA, that money isn't necessarily surprising if that's the role that he's being asked to fill. I still think it's a lot.
Okay, but like, do you want to pay a guy 94 million to make your team the target of the NBA? To make it like every night that they go see Houston, that they're going to want to drop 40 on his head. You're telling me that you want Houston to play more defense. You want them to be like, yeah, you know what? Let's give them hell today. We got Dylan Brooks on the next game. We're going to torch them.
I'm saying though. One, Houston already kind of, they people off nights anyway, so people really don't care. I don't think people really gonna care too much whether they want to get buckets on Dylan Brooks or not. He already got exposed. Like, sure, if they take it personal, but he ain't even worth the time at this point. Like, I don't think people really see it as a challenge anymore. Secondly, again, Ime, I don't know what he's gonna do, but I'm willing to see what he makes of this. I'm willing to give it a season to see, what improvements, if any, there are. I don't have high expectations. I'm just intrigued.
I'm waiting to see the TMZ pictures first. Hey. If he can make it through the first year without making it to any one of James Harden's old residencies,
moving on.
I'm going to be happy for that man. I'm scared for him. No, I'm just genuinely concerned for him. To end up in Houston, I heard that, and I'm like, well, temptation is that definitely there. So it's gonna be a fun year in Houston. They're gonna be a fun team to watch.
Hey, if he's single now, man, hey, he can live life. He can live life.
That's also a shame. No, I don't know if that's better. All right, let's go to a polar opposite state and team. The Indiana Pacers. No sex appeal, no nada.
Just
They got
basketball.
one
Literally.
biracial light skin at the helm from Oak Creek, or no, from Ozaki County.
Is it Ozaki County?
No, it isn't. No,
it's not Oak Creek.
Nope. Gave it like.
Where's the man from?
No, don't look it up.
Why? I'm looking it up.
Because I know it. All right, look it up. Know it. Don't say it. Huh? Don't say it. It's right. 2 words though.
Oh, it is.
All right, yeah. Okay, so just look at the camera. Acknowledge that you know it. I'm gonna say it out midway through. Tyrese Halliburton. Shouts out. He got his 260. They gave Bruce Brown a bag as well. 2 years. What, like 40 million a year?
Somewhere between 30 and 40. I don't remember the number. Do I have the number? I don't have the number.
Yep, Tyrese Halliburton's from a city in Wisconsin, though. So they gave him a fat bag.
It's Oshkosh, man.
Oshkosh, Oak Creek, O, and then yep, come on now. A K and a C. They sound the same.
They said he was born in Milwaukee, though.
I don't know about that. I hope so. No, I hope. Hey, at Tyrese Halliburton. Where I hope you're born in Milwaukee. Where were you born? Drop your birth certificate records. So it's not.
He just went to Oshkosh North for school, man. You know how it be. You know how it be, bro.
Oshkosh is far. That's not like. Is it Oshkosh? Isn't that where we went for the EAA? That's like a 2.5-hour drive.
I don't know about that.
We went on those little field trips like elementary school to go see those planes. I swear that's Oshkosh. That's the boonies.
Anyway,
he said he used to come down to Milwaukee for tournaments.
That's not the point. And this is not about Milwaukee or Wisconsin. This is about Indiana.
It's about representation. Shouts out Tyrese Halliburton representing us.
Okay, so Halliburton signs the extension. Cool, makes sense. He should be their point guard.
100% he deserves that bag.
They still have Miles Turner. Yep. Signed Bruce Brown, which I was a bit surprised.
I like it.
I like it, but I was surprised that he left Denver. I wasn't expecting that.
I thought that he would like the culture there, but I just feel that, like, a team offers you how much? You look at that paper and you're like,
2 years for 2 years, 30 plus.
They said each year I'm going to make this much, and when he made probably that much over his first like couple years in the league, he's like, oh yeah. He's got a. Sorry, that's outside the NBA tee. He's got a baby by somebody that I'll not disclose. It was reported during the finals. They were trying to figure out who's this woman's baby daddy that's in the NBA finals. I think we figured it out. The comments shall disclose who that is. But yeah, okay, I'm taking that paper then. Absolutely.
Hey, yo.
Hey, I'm just reporting the news. He needs that paper. He's taking that baby to Indiana. He's taking that money. Hey, now. Reportedly. But it seems pretty confirmed.
Hey, man.
I'm just reporting the news. This is.
Listen, I don't even want to get into that.
That's for the comments. That's not for us. Back to Oshkosh. Indiana. Back to Fort Wayne.
Okay. So after Bruce Brown, Indiana also signed Obi, though. They also signed Obi Toppin.
Great signing for like nothing, for like a second rounder.
I think that's I don't know what they're gonna do in the next 2 years, just given Bruce's contract, but I like that core.
That's solid. And then he could get up. And then you think about what they're trying to set up. I feel like they're trying to bite Charlotte's style. Really young, mobile, big team. Run, throw lobs to Obi, who's their bootleg Miles Bridges. I feel like that's. If I'm saying that they're trying to bite Charlotte's style.
Okay.
You see what I mean.
Okay.
I don't know if Charlotte has a Bruce Brown. Maybe that's Gordon Hayward. But someone that they gave a bag to. Not saying who he's an X factor, a culture guy. Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe he is Bruce Brown, a culture guy.
All right. We're taking it too far.
These are all great
Um,
correlations.
is Indiana going to be a top 6 team in the East next year?
Yes.
Ooh.
Gut feeling says yes. Well, like Milwaukee, Philly. I mean, unless Miami gets Dame, until they get him, I can't say it. Brooklyn, I'm going to throw in there.
Boston.
Boston. Yeah, they're sliding there. The Hawks, they're up and down every year. Chicago move. Yeah, they're throwing Indiana in there. Why not? It's a you could throw a dart blindfolded, and one of them teams is going to be a 6 seed.
You're not wrong. I like it though. I'll be interested to see what they look like this season.
Yeah.
Sure. Now there were a few teams that they made they just made some very intentional moves that I feel like is good for them, but they're all contenders. So I guess that makes sense. You want to start with Milwaukee or end with Milwaukee?
Let's get it out the way. It's so minimal. Like we let Ingles go for 22 million to Orlando, which is good for them. They need a vet.
Let Javon go too.
Javon to the Bulls. That hurts.
I like that he got 3 years, 20 though. I like that for him.
I'm happy for him. I'm gonna miss him for real.
Yeah.
2 that hurt, but then we pick up Beasley, which for a minimum I'll take. Absolutely.
I'm not mad at the contract. I just wonder what player we're getting.
I feel like anyone that's in LA, it's hard to see what type of player they are because like it's so hard to get significant minutes and significant shots and like consistent minutes unless you're Austin Reeves. Like I don't mind. I think he's actually gonna have a great year. If he's gonna be the Malik Beasley that I saw in like Minnesota, that type player where he's just like he really feels confident to get his shots up and he doesn't have the mental stress of dealing with Larsa Pippen. Give me him. He doesn't at this point. That's a fact. I'm also just relaying the news. Who else did we pick up? Anybody? I think we just re-signed. We re-signed Chris for a team friendly deal, and we got Brooke back for a less
team friendly.
Oh yeah, he was about to get 40 mil in a year. He definitely helped us out. That's why I opted out and restructured.
I mean, I guess in that regard, thanks. But I still think that 3 years 90 it was 3 years 120, wasn't it?
102.
It was 3 years 102.
That's not as bad. If Dylan Brooks is getting
it's
94 million with incentives, I'm not mad in this climate.
It's not as high as it could have been. I give you that. And if the goal was to not go and try to sign someone else, then I understand. Cool. Whatever. But yeah, ultimately, I'm not super upset at it. I did feel like it was a smidge high, but ultimately, when you put it in that perspective with the other contracts around there, I can't be that mad at it.
We got Robin Lopez.
I'm not happy about that.
I'm absolutely. There's twin synergy that happens. This is what happens when you bring out brothers in the same team. I think this is also a big off the bench just to, be a big body. He does the same thing for way cheaper. I'll take it. That's one less.
I mean, I'm not upset. I don't feel like it necessarily changes.
It's a needle mover. No. Not at all. Not at all. But is it fun? Absolutely.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. And then I like our moves just like with our team. It feels like we're going to give Marjan more minutes this year. You can kind of see like we've been ramping up like what he looks like in terms of him training with Giannis. Him in summer league.
Good.
Andre Jackson. Oh, sorry. Andre Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
Yes, because I was about to say mix up Chris Livingston as well.
yeah.
Signed him for a nice, the biggest rookie contract ever. Shouts out Clutch Sports. Rich Paul does it again
You're
somehow.
going crazy.
Oh, this whole year. We'll talk about Jeremy Grant getting 160 at some point too. But
Yeah, we'll see as we get closer to the year. But I mean, honestly, the way the team is and the way the league is, it kind of all depends on Giannis. And like at this point,
yeah,
Giannis will be Giannis, but will Middleton be Robin, or is he going to, decline? That's the question. Is he?
yeah.
Can he? I think he's peaked, but can he still? Is he like declining, or can he still operate at a
Maintain.
pace? Yeah, can he maintain?
And then does Drew retire after this year? I've heard rumblings that he might be done after his contract's up, which is like you're still semi in your prime. Hold
Which
up.
well, yeah, I mean that's fair. I wouldn't say he's not in his prime, but I have heard those rumblings as well. So hopefully, if that is the case, that's unfortunate. But I hope he treats this as a redemption tour, and goes out with a bang and a victory.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another team that did some shaking up, but I think was for the betterment of them. Golden State.
Oh my God. The memes. I mean, beyond the memes. They've moved, yeah. They said we're gonna choose the man that punched you over you.
That's a messed up way to put it.
That's as soon as it happened, I'm like, I thought that it started off the year. They were like, we got to get Dre out of here for the culture. This is our young future. This is our young core. We can't do this. And then as the season went on,
This is
more and more, they were like, I don't know. I don't know about this. Actually, Dre is actually the nucleus to why we do this. And then,
this is what I'll say. I think if JP doesn't have the season, and it's tough, it's hard because obviously all the season is affected by everything that happened, one would assume, right? So I think it's kind of messed up because if he either maintained his production or bettered it this season, it would have made more sense probably to move Draymond.
but the decline was apparent that it was like, okay, they're game planning him a little bit more. It's harder for him to get a shot.
And I don't want to take away from the fact that Draymond is what makes Golden State run the way it does. Like we can all have our feelings and opinions about that particular situation. But if you're talking about his value to the Warriors brand of basketball,
he's probably the most valuable point outside of Steph.
Absolutely. And I mean, Steph can really be Steph because of what Draymond does. And that's not to take away from Steph being Steph, but I'm saying that's how integral Draymond is to that system and that culture. So it's just like that it just feels like a really tough lesson in the league because it's like you have a core that's won championships.
Yeah.
And it would have been a huge risk for them to choose somebody who you're hoping can take the mantle. But that mantle's I don't think that mantle's gonna be held at all if Draymond isn't there. I mean, we even saw how the team looked with Draymond not being himself, at the beginning of the season. So it's just like it's tough, you know what I'm saying? But I think it made the most sense for the Warriors.
Yeah. And I saw a meme, it was hilarious. It said, it's crazy that the Warriors trade Jordan Poole and the odds that Draymond punches a player goes up. And I was like, oh my God, they might be right. They're going to have two of the most, and Chris Paul, I say this with the utmost respect and love. He's one of my favorite players to ever play this game. They have two of the most annoying players to ever play this game on one team. Like they just needed Pat Bev, and then they could have the trifecta. They would be oh my God, so annoying. But that's going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to be a very high IQ, very cerebral team. It's going to be fun to see how that opens up Chris Paul's game to facilitate for all of them too. So
Do you think he'll accept the bench role?
we've already got the mellow answer where he was like, yeah, you don't really come in and talk about that stuff right away. Like, hey, you want to start? Like, sounds like that'll probably be an awkward discussion, but I think he's not going to say no to a bench role. He's going to take it and he's going to do what he does. He's going to put up a historic 10-10 off the bench, first 6-man of the year for Chris Paul.
That's crazy.
Warriors 2 seed. I see it.
Not 10-10. I mean, I don't think pride should be a thing for him. I get that he's Chris Paul, but also like, okay, but when you're on a team with a top point guard and a top 5 player, top 3 maybe player in the league,
you just have to accept that role.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna play
not your team. It's not your team.
Beside them. I just don't. I don't.
They might. I could definitely see them going out with
the starting lineup though.
Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Dre, and Looney.
I could see them doing that.
And then them being like, "A Wiggins can come get Chris after a second. Chris would go get."
Wait, no. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't bench Wiggins.
Oh no, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, nah. Chris gonna have to take. He gonna have to take that 6-man big dog.
I'd bench Klay personally, but ooh, I mean,
you can't go that small in the backcourt. And Klay's still a bit.
Pin down.
I mean, are you taking Chris Paul over a defender? Are you taking Chris Paul over Klay as a defender?
No, as a passer. And then you could have Steph run off ball that lineup a little bit more instead of Dre. You could have Chris and Dre run that like point role, even though Dre does run the point for them for the most part.
Yeah, if Dre's not running the point for them, I don't know where he goes on the court, to be honest.
That's the question.
Interesting. They'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Staying out west, staying in California, the Lakers, boy, they said,
retooled.
Talk about a rebrand, okay? Talk about
they did something nice. They re-signed Rui. They pick up Gabe Vincent from Miami.
Nice deal for Rui too.
They pick up Taurean Prince from Minnesota, which is a great pickup.
Nice pickup.
Am I forgetting anyone?
Oh yeah, you're forgetting. They got Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes from New Orleans, yes.
Cam Reddish
was a sneaky deal.
And you re-signed Reeves and D'Angelo Russell.
Reeves was a quietly good pickup too, because they thought that contract was gonna be way fatter. They thought it was gonna be so bad. And they didn't get the poison pill because the NBA loves the Lakers. They're like, we'd never do that to you. Give them the poison pill. Why didn't Houston give that contract to Austin Reeves? Why'd they give it to Dylan Brooks? No one was bidding for him. Who were they bidding for? You have to do that to Austin Reeves, and then LA's got to pick up Dylan Brooks.
Oh, my.
That's it. See, Houston's too nice. They got some dirt on Ime. They were like, okay, we'll pick up Dylan Brooks for the $94 million.
You're an idiot.
Don't drop that. Don't drop that second release. No, they got a whole.
I like it.
They did the same thing they did the second half of the season.
Essentially. So they still have. So you have Bron, you have AD.
Yep.
You have D'Lo, you got Reeves. I think that Gabe Vincent will actually fit better than Schroeder.
Yeah, because Schroeder can shoot.
Exactly. Gabe Vincent being the shooter, I would say the playmaking is probably equal, or I would actually give that nod to Schroeder. But the shooting more specifically around Bron and AD, but Gabe can also create his own shot steal. So I think that works. I think they're crazy at the wing position.
Between Vanderbilt, you put up Cam Reddish on that team. Rui is like a big 3, small 4.
Jackson Hayes, Taurean Prince. I'm like, you have shooters. You have 3-and-D. You have young 3-and-D guys.
Yeah.
To play alongside your 2 stars, your rising guard, and your steady guard.
That's really good with Reeves too. The Lakers are kind of I like what they got going.
If it
They're putting a run for Braun. They're good. They're giving it a couple more runs.
if it gels, and if Bron can truly take the load off during the season that he should be able to, that also comes down to AD staying healthy and putting up the numbers we think that he should. But all things considered, if Bron can rely on this team to not have to shoulder so much of the load, oh, they're gonna be scary come April.
Yeah, they're gonna be fun.
They're gonna be fun and scary come April. Ooh. My God. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see them. Any other miscellaneous or just like interesting signings that stood out to you?
Pat Bev to Philly's very good for them. They also have two nuisances in Pat Bev and PJ.
I like that.
Houston let go everybody. Sorry, not Houston, Miami. Miami just decided to say that, hey, all of our role players, you could have them. Strus went out to Cleveland for $64 million, which is I thought was a lot, but in this day's NBA, why not?
I don't know why he getting 64 million.
Lord Almighty.
4 years, so it ain't terrible, but I mean, Jesus. 15 million.
And Russ, let's talk about Russ's contract. What? 2 years, $8 million? That's what he's worth? Good for him that he found a spot, but that just shows that,
I think the fact that he took it shows that there may not have been a lot of interest anywhere.
He thinks he found a home. He's in LA. He's in an LA that likes him.
Yes, but also I don't know what that team. I don't know.
He's playing the Kawhi role until he's healthy. They might have to be at blow it up Central.
Yeah,
that test run failed horribly. They traded their whole future away for a rental. But that's why they're kind of like, hey, we just got to stick at it. But
literally, they don't have any other option.
That's bad. That's bad. They traded Shea. Oof.
I know that hurts. I know that hurts.
It's bad.
Know that hurts. Oh my.
That's like looking back at it, it's almost as bad as Minnesota. Minnesota had an okay offseason.
Yeah. And signed
Nas Reed. Did what they needed to do, but oy vey. I don't know. Can't think of really anyone else.
Melo got a bag. Melo got his bag too.
Melo got his bag. Yeah.
Love Melo. Sorry. Love Melo.
RTBMB got his 1 year quietly.
Who is RTBMB?
Miles Bridges. Number 1 rapper in the NBA. But we won't discuss. I mean, we should, but quietly after his year sabbatical, he is back.
Crazy thing to call it, but
the NBA said stay far away. They said don't say that you're affiliated with us at all. You don't know us. Michael said hush up, and he's back. So we'll see what that team looks like, regardless of all the outside drama with all that. Steven Chenzo got a significant bag, 50 mil.
Nice little bag. And
that Nova bag.
New York. I love him in New York. I love that.
Him, Josh Hart, they just put Villanova back on the main stage. They play MSG so much. Bring Kemba back just to see what it looks like.
Right. I don't know why Portland gave that man 160 million.
Oh Lord, let's talk about it. No, let's talk about it, because that's one of the most confusing contracts that I've seen. I thought that was confirmation that Lillard was staying, and the day after, that man looked at that contract. He looked at his agent. And he said,
"Yeah,
we're not winning here." Yeah. I'm gone. Oh man.
Yeah, that's a crazy deal. That was not the deal I was expecting him to get.
Terrible deal. Terrible. I've never seen a deal like that for someone that wasn't going to be a core piece of your team, or wasn't going to be a core piece of a winning team. Like I think I was telling you off the camera yesterday, where it's just like, why give a guy 160 million if you're not contending for a chip? Or unless you have a guarantee from your star player, like, hey, I'm staying in. This is the guy I want for this much. If you're going to be a middling team like OKC and whoever, don't give anyone 160 mil. You avoid that like the plague. and you have bummy teams. Like they did this. I was saying, teams like OKC a couple years back where they're putting out no-name teams. Portland was doing that when Dame was hurt. Why not do that again? But except with assets, you got for Damian Lillard. Hoy vey, man.
Wait.
It's confusing. That was probably a little bit more confusing than Houston.
Oh, absolutely.
Houston, at least, like, they're young. They have Şengün. They have a future. But, oh, man. I get anxiety thinking about that. If I was a Portland fan, like, I'm sweating.
Hey, no, that's down. That's bad. That's bad. I'd have some feelings for sure.
I feel more confident if I'm a Pelicans fan. And we know what offseason Zion's had. We don't even have to talk about that. We don't have to say a word. I feel more confident if I'm that fan base. Talk about players that need the contract money. To hell with Bruce Brown's contract. Zion's going to need that. Ooh. Beyond that, the Portland Trailblazers, I'm happy they got Scoot. I wish he could play with Dame. That's really all I wish in the situation. Sucks that Dame asks out now when he gets his best piece with him since God knows when.
CJ.
I was going to say LaMarcus Aldridge.
That's
CJ was a Nurkic might even be.
We're ending the episode. we're ending the episode on that.
CJ is a great, don't get me wrong. CJ is a great player, phenomenal player. Just think the impact that those other players had when he was on the court. It's not like him and CJ didn't progress and do great things. I'm just saying that I can think of more times that CJ has hindered Dame than he has helped in key situations. I mean, Dame's dropping 60 and you're stepping out of bounds, my guy, with the last plays. Like, I mean, not that he wasn't pouring his heart out, I'm dropping, 30 some along with my man, but when the pressure was there, he's fine. He's like leader of the player association. He has a platform. He could go on his pod and come back. Come on the episode, CJ. I would say that he's the second or third best option that Dame's had on his team. LaMarcus Aldridge, let's put respect on LA's name. Dame was young. Nurkic is a bit of a hot topic. I thought that he's a nice big that's service next to Dame very well. He's gave Dame a new dynamic playing on his team in terms of like playing through the post and having that. He was a key reason why he was dropping those 60 balls. Let's be real.
There is absolutely no way that you are saying Yusuf Nurkic is Damian Lillard's second best teammate ever in any category, capacity, aspect, facet, realm, anywhere.
It's not like I said Al-Farouq Aminu, who I could say was possibly one of the most important role players to one of his Portland teams. It's someone that's watched this team for years. When Al-Farouq was there, they were a threat in the West.
Miguel Bayless, I think our show is ended.
Are you pulling a Shannon Sharp?
No, I ain't leaving the show.
Okay.
But I'm pulling the Stephen A. I'm leaving the desk because of that. And
I don't know if that's too hot of a take. I don't know. You could post that one.
Oh,
LaMarcus Aldridge was a better team. LaMarcus Aldridge was a better teammate than CJ McCollum.
No, that's not the hot take. That's not the hot take.
What was it?
The hot take is you saying Nurkic was a better teammate than CJ McCollum.
I was gauging it. I said that he fit better. If you take CJ McCollum
better.
off, I think if you take CJ McCollum off, then they could still survive. I think you could definitely survive with a player that handled the ball less, that just shot. You put current day Pat Connaughton there.
You're getting bored.
Yusuf Nurkic doing that high-low ball screen, I think it's still effective.
You're getting bored. You're getting bored. And I feel like our conversation has like we've talked about everything. So now you're just saying anything
No,
going on. That's what's going on.
the more I speak, the more clarity I get. I'm just getting more of a.
I know what that is. I know what that is. The more you speak, the more clarity you get. Starting to set in, ain't it? Anyway,
No. It's just sit in my thoughts. I can see the play happening as it happens.
I'm not about to let him continue with this mess.
Not too hard of a take. It's not too hard of a take. If the real basketball fans are hearing me, they're hearing me. I got the man in the room that said that Fred VanVleet is an assist hog. But I shall not show his face. He just set his plan down. He's waving his fingers like, I'm right.
That is right.
You said that is right. There it is. You shall not know him until a further episode. Look, tweet at it.
Your take was worse, and we're not going to let the people forget that.
We can talk. We'll post both. I still think that you take Nurkic off that team. We saw they weren't doing anything in the playoffs. You put Nurkic back, they're a viable threat in the West. I'm standing 10 toes on it actually now. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm saying the role that he serviced there was more needed and more crucial than CJ's. Because Damon's going to shoot like 40 shots a game anyways. Yep, I'm standing 10 toes on it. Shame me if you want. I'm backing the table up with this weird wall behind me. Yeah, I bet you've been wondering what's behind me. It's a whole bunch of shapes. It's a ceiling. Let them know. Let them know, Qualls. I'm on one right now. You see, so we started off the episode. I was very low vibration. I was very, mellow. Wanted to just, feel out the first episode back. We're going to have some good episodes going forward. I'm ready. I'm warmed up.
You know what?
Lighting situations to be better in the future. But we're not here for the lighting. We're here for the words.
Before he goes any further, this has been a good episode of the Right Quality Podcast. If you want to hear more of this crazy guy's antics and dramatics, along with his wild, hot, and consistently off sports takes, please join on the next episode. And until then,
hey.